It was just after midnight when the impossible happened. Blinding blue light tore down through the metropolis skyline, obliterating 4 stories of mirrored glass and steel in an instant. And somewhere in the darkness, Lex Luthor smiled, because for years he'd been told it couldn't be done, that no one, no matter how rich, how smart, or how ruthless, could actually bring down Superman. But Lex Luthor's CEO, genius, billionaire, had much patience for being told no. Some say it started the day Superman first appeared, a caped blur of red and blue, lifting a collapsing shuttle into the sky on live TV. 2 ordinary citizens, Superman was hope made real. But to Lex, he was something else, a threat. Not just to Metropolis, but to the idea that humanity itself should be in charge of its own destiny. Luthor's logic was simple. The world had heroes now, sure, but what it really needed was accountability. Superman had powers no human could match. He hovered outside the law, making his own rules. If a being like that ever decided to turn against mankind, who would stop him? Certainly not the government, not the cops. No one except Lex. So the war began. Quietly at first. Lex started with the classic angles: economic squeeze, political lobbying, deploying Luthor Corp's ever-growing tech empire to box Superman in. The first iteration, Project Achilles, was a massive network of drones, programmed to identify and intercept anything alien descending on the city. Tens of millions spent, 0 results. Superman let them follow him, then fried the fleet with a single burst of heat vision. Lesson learned. But Luthor wasn't deterred. If brute force would never work, then he'd have to get smart. Over the next year, he poured resources into his labs, hiring physicists and ex-Cold War spooks, drilling them on deep space radiation and exotic minerals. One rumored meteorite, a chunk of radioactive crystal that came down the same week. Superman first appeared became the centerpiece of his new obsession: kryptonite. While some people play chess, Lex played entire tournaments, anonymous black market buyers, false identities. It took months, risking exposure at every turn, but by the end, he had it. A fist-sized chunk of glowing green rock, humming and cold. Locked away 3 floors beneath Luthor Corp Tower, he built the suit next. A battle suit powered by arc reactors laced with lead-lined plating and microscale servos. The only thing stronger, he thought, would be the man he planned to kill. That led us back to tonight. The trap was simple. Never underestimate Lex for subtlety. He orchestrated a citywide blackout, then broadcast a simple message. Superman, people are dying. Only you can stop this. He knew Superman would come, and he did. Right on cue. There are moments when 2 people meet and history changes. For Lex, this was one. Superman descends through a gaping hole in the roof. He lands silent, unsure, and Luthor is waiting, glowing suit crackling beside the meteorite on its pedestal. Luthor steps forward, every movement measured. "You're not a god," he says. "You're a threat." And in the next instant, the room erupts in green light. Superman stumbles, pain in every nerve. Kryptonite, Luthor's trump card. But Lex doesn't gloat. Not yet. He moves in, swinging with the full force of the suit, every hit calculated to do the most damage. It nearly works. Superman falters, brought to his knees. No one watching would doubt that this time, the alien might actually lose. But here's the thing about Lex Luthor. For all his genius, he relies on rules, strategy, control. Superman, for all his power, never does. By the 3rd blow, Superman makes his move. Despite the pain, the weakness, he manages to blast Lex across the room with a gust of frozen breath. Lex lands hard, the suit sparking against the wall. For a moment, both men just stare at each other. This isn't how Lex imagined victory, and for a split second, doubt creeps in. But Lex has one last trick. A microshard of kryptonite in his palm. He lunges, but Superman catches him. Not with force, but with words. "You don't have to do this," Superman says, voice strained but steady. Lex hesitates, because it was never about the shard, or the suit, or even the meteorite. It was about proving that a human, one singular, ordinary human, could be more than a god. But as Lex falters, Security alarms blare. The authorities, all too human, burst into the room. Lex is cornered. The battle tonight at least has gone to Superman. He lets the police take Lex, not out of vengeance but out of hope. Lex Luthor is arrested, but as he's led away, he locks eyes with Superman. A promise, silent and unbroken. Because this isn't over. Lex will rebuild, replan, and return. He always does. Somewhere above the skyline, Superman watches a symbol, a warning, and to some, an impossible ideal. In this city, the battle between man and Superman goes on. And as long as Lex Luthor draws breath, humanity will never give up the fight.